Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chanel and Muck Boots. I am Suzanne Capral. Today, we are going to New Delhi, India. We are going to be speaking with Ananta, who is gracious enough to take some time out of her evening schedule to share some of what they're going through and what she is going through personally and professionally during the COVID-19 that, as you know, has pretty much hit everyone throughout the globe in one way or another. Hello, and thank you so much. Welcome.
Good morning, Suzanne. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to talk to you and to your viewers.
Thank you so
Welcome
much.
to New Delhi, India. And like I was telling you, we are 12,000 miles away. And thanks to Zoom, we are only 12 seconds away.
I do like that very much. The technology Zoom has been very useful for me. My studio obviously is shut down and will be for several more weeks. So I am happy that I was able to quickly work with producers and put together a makeshift studio here. So I'm very grateful to Zoom as well. So tell me, how are you doing? And if you could give us an overview of what is happening over in New Delhi, India, as it relates to the pandemic.
Okay. So, Suzanne, it's a very sad situation and extremely unfortunate that all of us, whether it's India or whether it's the US, have been hit by something that we have never in our lifetimes witnessed, imagined, or heard of. In fact, my son was putting up at the New Yorker in New York. He goes to NYU. And the minute this commotion started, I flew him into India first thing, because I said, here we can manage things better. And, this type of a panic situation and concern and feeling out of control, our generation has never ever felt that we cannot handle something, everything. Technology has taken care of everything. They've put us so close together. And then when you realize that there is this little bug which we are not able to handle, it's a very helpless situation. And then you are bombarded with all sorts of news on television about across the globe, the lives that are being lost, the ill-preparedness to handle something of this nature. And they're calling it World War III, so it can't get worse than that, And those who are going to survive this, and, this is something everybody's going to be talking about their entire lifetime. And it has hit you from all sides. The world has shrunk. We have families across countries, across continents. We have friends all over the place. And everywhere it is the same thing. And unlike the US, which is a first world country, India, the resources are very limited. The only thing we have in our hands is social distancing. And there is a huge rural-urban divide. People in the cities are very aware, Suzanne, but people in the rural areas, they do not understand this concept. Yes, the Indian population may be slightly better equipped to handle this because of their inbuilt immunity. But when you talk about hospitals or doctors or infrastructure, even we don't have something to cope at this level, and the way it is spreading so fast, and it's out of control, So all we are doing is we are locked in our houses.
In India, so you said, those in the city have a different perception and understanding of those who are in more rural communities. So those who are in more rural communities, are they not necessarily doing the social distancing or the self-isolation, self-quarantine?
Well, to be honest with you, our Prime Minister, our Home Minister, our Health Minister, they are all the time coming on television and educating. So are all the influencers, whether it is our cinema fraternity, which is Bollywood, which we are very affected by, or whether it is influencers like our cricketers, who have a mass following. Everybody is coming out there and, bombarding the media with information. But an understanding of this nature that, you can't hug even your family. And then, when people are flying back home, you're not supposed to be near them for 15 days. that level of understanding and that level of, what should I say, carefulness, doesn't necessarily actually exist. And whatever you may say, people do have to step out of their homes, either to walk their dog or for whatever reason, or for picking up medicines. Essential services are open. So for that, you have to go. And in fact, we have a lockdown till the 14th, 15th of April. And I don't know after that what the situation will be.
Yes, here in the States, in our Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, in the United States, we cannot go out. We're basically under a stay-home order by our governor until
Yeah.
April 30th, and then it's going to be something that we will reevaluate. Our schools are closed. Any business that is considered non-essential, that means not life-supporting. So
Yes.
our grocery stores are open, the farms are still running, obviously the hospitals and anything related to medical, even as far as transportation. How are the residents acting during all this? We had a panic, I'll tell you. On the news, you could see grocery stores being crammed and people hoarding food and supplies and Clorox wipes and toilet paper. And did you have such a mad rush where you are in New Delhi when this hit?
Yes. So initially, when this started, there was shutdown only for one day, on a Sunday. So when the first shutdown happened, this definitely was the trend. Now things have kind of, settled down, because people have understood that the essential services will be available. And there's no need to panic on that account. But it's a panic at a different level, because with organizations being shut and revenue sources not happening, daily wage laborers losing their jobs, the concern is of a different level, that, how are we going to sustain beyond this? And at the same time, if one was to get this, then how are you supposed to handle it with shortage of ventilators and shortage of medical staff and limited space in hospitals,
Mm-hmm.
all
Yeah,
that, the concern, it's become a larger concern than just the essential services, which was the initial concern,
right, right. So
yeah.
personally, what are you doing to cope during this quarantine period? How are you handling it? What are you doing to reduce your stress level and your anxiety?
Right. So, to be honest with you, Suzanne, I am not at all stressed. At all stressed.
Good thing.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I am extremely concerned about the people who are suffering. I'm extremely concerned about people who are not with their families. It's painful to see those bodies go in the trucks. That is completely heartbreaking, But stress, as far as personal stress is concerned, to cope with this, no, I'm not stressed at all. I have, whatever is in my hands, whatever is in our hands, we are doing our best. And whatever destiny has in store for us, we will deal with it. I have been working for the last 29 years nonstop. This is the first time I got a break like this. It's actually, in a certain way, it's lovely being with the family. It's beautiful to be able to do a lot of things for which I depended on domestic help, like cooking or doing dishes I'd never done in my life, or baking a cake, or or laundry, and sweeping and mopping, because unlike the US, where you can do your vacuum cleaning at intervals, here you have to do it every day. There's more dust here, there's more pollution here comparatively. So every morning, you have to sweep and mop your homes to keep it clean. And especially if you have front yard and backyard, and if you live in an independent setup, then you've got your hands full all the time. Plus our meals are also a little more complex. If you've been to any of the Indian restaurants, there's curry, there's rice, there's a whole half a dozen dishes which form our normal meal, a lunch or a dinner. It's a little more complicated. So that is keeping me busy. Plus a lot of spring cleaning. I've sorted out a lot of my clothes, made donation bags, and a lot of pending things. I had a whole lot of half-written stories. I I had a lot of half-done music lessons.
Yeah.
So I'm getting, and then the whole stress of, oh, I have to wake up at this time in the morning, or so and so is going to be ringing my doorbell at that time in the morning. All that stress is gone. So so nobody's coming, nobody's going. We're only Zooming, including birthday parties. I had my first birthday party on Zoom ever. So there are a lot of firsts, and this is also not going to last for too long. So I'm just taking it, just enjoy this time that God has given us together, and just pray for the best. That's all.
It's almost like we're taking this time as a reboot. To get grounded again. And when you say what you miss or what you see other people missing, and I know we've had these conversations here in the States, is I want to hug my loved ones. I want to see my grandparents. I want to see this individual, or I just want the freedom to go out. It kind of takes you back to the basics. What is really important? What's a priority in your life? And what I pray is that when this is all over, and this will end, and we're going to come out stronger, I hope we come out wiser, and we remember what we're missing so much right now.
Yes. Something, you're so right, Suzanne. Love, peace, and what matters to you most in the world. This is, the priorities are completely, clear out there, what matters the most. Like I told you, the minute this happened, the first thing I did is I said, spring break, get on the first flight, come home. That's what I said to my son, and my entire thought process was, I hope all is well, and for the first 15 days, one was scared as well, yeah.
Yes. Now, are you still working during this time? You are in an executive position at Experian, is that correct?
Yes. Suzanne, I am the Senior Executive Director for a real estate company called Experion Developers. Mm-hmm. It's 100% FDI out of Singapore. And, I take care of their Delhi sales marketing setup. So it's really hit us very badly in India, the real estate business, because everything has come to a standstill completely. And normally these times are very good for us. March and April are good months for us, the weather is good, the site visits happen, and, transactions happen. So we missed out on a good season from a work point of view. We are definitely keeping the morale of the teams high. We're connecting with them on Zoom meetings. We are still carrying on with our regular scheduled meetings as they would happen in our office boardrooms and meeting rooms. And providing comfort to each other. At the same time, whatever you may say, in such situations, different people react differently. For a lot of people to be sitting at home and really doing nothing, more so for the men, because there are limited activities which they can engage themselves in,
Right.
And there are different personality types, so I think what I feel is that the women are taking this a lot better than the men. And I don't think I've ever for 2 weeks in a row spent my life in pajamas and a ponytail.
You said something very interesting. You see that the women are taking this better. They're actually adapting better than the men. And why do you think that is?
I somehow feel that, the coping mechanisms and the way they deal with the, emotional issues, social issues, and communication per se is quite different. They would connect with their sisters, with their mothers, with their best friends, share what good is happening, what good is not happening. And also they are actually not feeling socially distanced, because if you've cooked something nice, you'll quickly send a picture of it to somebody you like and say, here, I made this for you with love, and So all those things are happening. But I think what I feel is that with men, it's more about, somebody is physically present and then you are present in the now,
Yes.
So how much of television can you watch? And, and this is not even a time when you can actually be in a mood to take some online course, and you don't know for how long you're locked in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you don't plan your next day the night before, then the next day you're going to be lost, and you'll be just wandering around. It's like that beautiful TED talk given by one of your naval chiefs who says, first thing in the morning, do your bed.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. If
It's,
you want to
it's such a
change the world.
beautiful. Well, you want to change the world, you first thing you do is your bed. And women
Absolutely.
wake up with a sense of purpose that okay, today is my day to show my love to my husband or my son or my parents or whoever is in your house locked in with you. This is how I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that women have a head bursting with ideas. I know so many who are doing embroidery. Somebody is doing knitting, never done
Right.
before, enjoying. Yeah, just finding something good to do. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
You mentioned TED Talk, and I know you did a TEDx back in
Yes,
2017, if I'm correct. What I'd like to
yes.
know is if you could please expand a little bit on the 6 C's that you talked about, the importance of having a goal. You need a goal, you need to be challenged, and the precipice. If you could talk about that as well, because your TED Talk, and there will be a link on the Chanel and Muck Boots website, so they can also, so viewers and listeners could also go to your TED Talk. But I'd love to hear more about it because it's quite fascinating, your perception and your perspective of especially women in the workplace getting ahead in this
Yes.
business.
Yes, thank you so much, Suzanne. I'm glad you heard it and you liked it.
Very much.
I think, now that you are mentioning it, I'm realizing it's so relevant, because again, we are on the edge of the precipice once again. And this one is probably the worst that any of us have ever faced, where we and our families and our colleagues and our neighbors and everybody has a certain threat looming over them, and we are clueless about how to handle it if it does hit us.
Mm-hmm.
So here, when you talk about in this context, in the Corona COVID-19 context, I think our first goal is that all of us come safe and sound out of it. So more from, keeping distance from each other, guiding each other, and if supposing somebody does get hit by it, one of my son's friend is right now in hospital. He came from the UK, and he was tested positive. And a young boy, 22 years old, he's fighting it in the hospital in Delhi. And when something like this happens, then it's so important to stay connected with the patient on phone, as well as the parents, to help them get out of this, edge of the precipice, like you said. And so everything, whether it is communication, whether it is character.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading an article where, Suzanne, a doctor had to take a call. There was a ventilator, whether to give those ventilators only to those people who were below 55 and keep sedated till they passed away peacefully. And video shows him he's weeping, and then he wipes his tears and goes with a brave face and is back again. I mean, what can be more sad than this? We are actually on the edge of a precipice. So whether, I mean, those 6 C's which apply to our management decisions, those are financial decisions. Those are personal decisions. What is the worst that can happen? A little bit of pain, a little bit of sorrow, a little bit of breakup, a little bit of hardship. Maybe you need to change your job. Maybe you need to change your relationships. Maybe, eventually we humans have that coping mechanism to cope with that. But
Yes.
this is world changing, life changing. So communication is very important here. Character is very important here. every single point that I have mentioned in that is so relevant and so important today in this type of a situation that we are facing. And you're talking about the C's here, the big C, Corona, COVID-19. I mean, just keeping our fingers crossed that, all of those things just help us to kind of get out of that, so we are first time at a loss of words. We are first time at a loss of, from emotions also. These are emotions which are going topsy-turvy, we have hope, we have faith, we have trust, but the thing is that the situation is not in our hands. When your prime minister says that 200,000 in a few weeks, it shakes the whole world, because we are looking at your leader, as US being a global power, they've coped with everything and come out only stronger. When you see that happening there, then all these 6 C's also lose relevance, because then you are like, we are just a speck of dust as far as nature and earth is concerned. The earth is certainly healing, Suzanne.
Yes.
The earth is certainly healing. India has a lot of pollution, air, noise, water, everything. It is healing. Our rivers are seeing dolphins again. Our skies are blue again. We have the prettiest birds coming and chirping around our houses. We have peacocks on the roads. We have pigeons all around our shopping malls. We didn't know our buildings are so beautiful and our cities are so beautiful when people and garbage is not there, which we are seeing now on television. So, Suzanne, to be honest with you, all those things which apply in a leadership role in an organization setup and which make you a winner in corporate decisions, the points remain the same, but the battle is so different.
Yes.
And right now we are really hanging up there. Once this is over, I think I'll be able to comment a lot better on how all these leadership skills kind of fit into that. But yes, our prime minister has certainly emerged as a very strong leader. He's leading from the front, and I see him using all of those qualities that should be there in a leader at this time.
With
He's
leadership,
connected.
there's just one thing, if I could ask you, and this is basically opinion, and this is how I personally, it's just my perception is, we have on our state level in the United States, we have governors, we have our president of the United States, and what we also have are a lot of critics. And I look at these individuals going on television, behind closed doors, making incredible decisions that have to be difficult, no matter what the view is. And I think about the pressure cooker every one of these individuals must be facing. And I can't see anybody having the exact answer at the exact moment, because this continues to evolve. And do you personally see it as a situation where those individuals making the decisions today are doing the best they can with the information they have? Because there's a lot of variables as well. And that could also change tomorrow. We take what we have at the time and we run with it and make the best decisions at that time.
Yeah. So absolutely right. Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah. So absolutely right. I think given the circumstances, everybody, wherever they are definitely doing their best, given the circumstances, given the situation, given the seriousness and the gravity of the situation, whether it is in India or in the US. Yes, whenever you are in a position of power, critics will always be there. Anybody who is in a situation where there are no critics means that there's something that you're not doing right, is the way I look at it, So if you are being criticized, you are being noticed, you are on the right path. And no matter what, the critics should not deter you from doing the right thing. Because this is not a vote bank time. This is about saving lives. This is going to go down in history. Kids are going to be studying about this. Medical students are going to be practicing things on this. Management lessons will be given on this. You are writing history every second. How can you go wrong? Nobody is going to go wrong. There are doctors who are trying to save people and they are dying. There was this beautiful story about a couple in Italy who left their two kids with the grandparents, and they came back to serve, and both of them are probably no more now. And they're just serving their nation. They're just serving humanity. And this is, I personally feel there is, there's your inner voice, and your soul is talking to you right now, and
Yes.
there's nobody who is not going to be listening to it. You may be God loving, you may be God fearing, you may not even believe in God, but what you are seeing, you cannot not help someone when you are seeing that there is trouble. So I am sure all leaders are going to be taking the right decisions. The world leaders are connected. The national leaders are connected. And there's no one person who's taking a decision, because one person is clueless. It has to be all joint consensus.
Absolutely.
At the same time, it's good that the critics are voicing and they are coming out in the open. If they are talking logic, definitely there could be course correction in decisions. But if they are being illogical and just raising a point for the sake of raising a point, then people are wiser. They are watching them, and they are getting exposed. The bad elements and the selfish elements are getting exposed in the process.
Yes, absolutely. And you bring up something very good about course correction, because in business, there's course correction as well. The decision you make today based on what the information you have may not play well a week down the road. So that is something that we also need to pay attention to. Again, because as you said, and I agree, everyone is doing the best they can with the information that they have at this time. Do you think this COVID-19 is a lesson, first of all? And do you see it as a wake-up call? And do you think when this is over, we will remember the lessons of this time during this global pandemic?
Yes. Suzanne, it's a wake-up call. It's a shake-up call. It's a very, very hard lesson that we have learned at the cost of so many lives. I hope that something like this never, ever happens in the future. And as a global community, we all are more responsible. We all are better connected to deal with these things. A month back, flights could have been put on hold. A month back, lockdowns could have happened. There are people out there who must have known something is getting out of hand. It is so sad that this type of loss has happened for normal people, and not even normal people. I mean, just see, I mean, you have royalty and you have world leaders also who are under lockdown because they've been infected. So it's very sad that this type of a slip up happened in the first place. Now that it has happened, all we can look at is that the sooner and the faster we get over with this, whether it is a vaccine or whether it is plasma or whether it is whatever technology that we want to use, the faster we all work. And I think all the global, in the sense, the brains must pool in together, and I'm sure they are doing that so that in the shortest possible time they can take out a vaccine, not only for this, but also plan ahead. Because if viruses mutate, then you have to do forward thinking at a very different level. There are already 2 strains. We don't know what type of strains will emerge. In Indian monsoon is crazy. As it is, India is, at a very different level where infections are concerned during monsoons. We don't know how this is going to come back and in what form. So in this uncertainty, like you said, there are the terms which are being used in as far as business is concerned. VUCA is everybody's favorite word these days: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, right? And of course adaptability. So today, all of those 4 words, we are being stretched to use them in this particular situation that we've landed in. And the key is management. Every prime minister has to run his country like a CEO and keep taking those decisions, good or harsh or whatever it is, but to fix this at the earliest possible.
I want to ask you, Vuka, when you talk about those words, if to all of our female viewers and listeners right now, and they are home, they are in quarantine, and they're thinking, I need to make a change. When I come out of this, I need to make a change, and I need to start focusing on what's important in my life. And maybe that is a career change. Maybe it's picking up something that they've wanted to do and they were always hesitant for whatever reason. But for now is the time that they're ready to take this next step. What advice and suggestions would you give to those women today?
Okay. Suzanne, I just love your name. There's such a music to it. So I'm going to use S for it. Okay. So this soul time that we have, SOLE, with ourselves, for the first time, we have so much soul time available to us. We have to convert it into soul time, which is SOUL, So from SOLE, from solitude, through fortitude, we really need to change our attitude. It's very, very important for us that we see if just a thought, if supposing, we were to know, okay, fine, I got corona.
Yeah.
And I got so much time available to myself. Okay. What did I do wrong in the past? And if I came out of it, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? That'll give us all the answers that we are looking for. Absolutely. You just have to pretend for those 5 seconds that, it's not that person that I'm seeing on television. If I was to go through this, what would I do with the rest of my life?
Mm-hmm.
And just, on the 29th of March, I was celebrating my 51st birthday. And that's what I was just asking myself. And I said, thank you, God. I could not have had a better birthday. I have my son with me. I have my dad with me. What more does one want? And I baked myself a cake. And, I said, good, this is what matters the most. And last year I had my 50th, for which my sister, Dr. Maima, had also come. And he had hundreds of guests and, big jing bang. But actually, I never ended up spending that kind of time with the family the way I spent it this time. And including with Maima, even though we're miles apart, but the conversations we had and, the time we could give to each other, so I think time is very precious. Life is very precious, and relationships are the most precious.
Absolutely.
We just should be grateful for whatever we have with us, and cherish that and relish that and try and protect what is with us.
Ananta, thank you so much. That is wisdom that we are going to use to wrap up, and it's perfect. I could not ask you any follow-up question that could top what you just said. Thank you so much. The priorities, what matters. Thank you, and I hope you will come back when this is all over, months down the line, and we could talk about here in the precipice and what you're doing next, because I know that everyone would be very interested in hearing more about your life.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure connecting with you, Suzanne. And my lots and lots of love to everybody out there in Pennsylvania.
Thank you so much.
It's my best place. It's my favorite place in the world.
Oh, really? Well, please.
Not hard to guess why.
Yes, your beautiful, beautiful sister, Miss Pennsylvania. She is just phenomenal. She was a guest last year on Chanel and Muck Boots. So any of my viewers or listeners could also go to the website and hear her story as well. And I hope and pray that when you come back to Pennsylvania to visit your sister, that we could meet up and I could show you a lovely farm that's only minutes away from where she lives.
I have been there. I have been there several times. I've played with the animals. I've had the ice creams. I love the milk there.
Yes, yes.
And I know of some kids who do summer camp, and I used to tell her, I said, I want to be a kid again too. Why did we do this when we were kids?
That's wonderful.
So my best wishes to the hillside farms also.
Oh my goodness.
I really love everything there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll be in touch again soon.